What's up, y'all? I'm at I-78. I'm back again. Apologize for being late, y'all. I got caught up. I was back there watching the business, and he was doing the exact same thing we're getting ready to talk about in this brief, live. This is actually from his show from Friday. What was it? $1 million worth of femininity. And this one, he was talking about, when the need for women to put out the same amount of femininity that they want to receive, the same amount of femininity to, let me get my thoughts together, y'all, sorry. The need for women to put a dollar amount on their femininity since they want to put a dollar amount on a man's masculinity. And it was a real interesting episode. I might do a review on the whole thing. But this was in his, once he opened up the phone lines. And y'all, this is a prime example of old women leading these young old hoes leading young hoes down the wrong path. Y'all, this lady called in, and she was trying to do a correlation between the women of today and women of like our mothers and our grandmothers generation. And sometimes you just need to know when to just shut up and stop talking. But she clearly has not gotten the memo on when it's time to just. And she literally fucked around and found out. So we're gonna play this clip. It's not that long, but it's so much that goes on. We're gonna get into it. All right, let's see. Because she just ran her mouth, and it was just real out of order. All right, it was too much. It was entirely too much. But here we go.
Like I say, in a very limited application, maybe that could work, but otherwise, man.
This guy's calling in talking about
it doesn't work.
A woman being able to
you can do that once or twice, but this can't become a way of life. And how does she know what's on the menu at all these restaurants and stuff? How can she know that unless she's abusing it? No. Exactly. You want her expertise. You don't want her expertise in perusing other places. Sure, it's good to know where some nice spots are and things. That's great and that's wonderful. But just understand that's not an added benefit. That's maintenance.
If you
in
can
limited
cook
applications,
what you had
but even if she uses it too much, it starts to transform into a negative. Call from area code 919. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Josephine, and I'm calling actually from New York. How are you, Jason?
Hi, Josephine. What's on your mind?
I was thinking about the difference between the styles of now and the classic. So, with Michelle Obama and how she dressed and everything of that nature versus Mrs. Kennedy in the classic and what they're doing today. So that was just my point on.
Well, I will tell you.
I
will tell you this: when you take a look at the caliber of man that Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis had, both the president and then when he got killed, what she went on to next. Then you take a look at Michelle Obama. All I can say is these men, faults notwithstanding. Take a look at the caliber of man that they were able to attract. They attracted men who became world conquerors, basically. Meanwhile, these chicks out here with Cardi B talking about their wet body parts and they're in and out of child support court.
Sure. Hold on.
Exactly.
We're going to stop right there for a quick second. Okay. I get the correlation she was trying to make, but if we're going to be honest, and tell the truth, which is the truth, Michelle ain't had shit on Jackie Kennedy Onassis. Not nothing. No. Michelle had more work to do. Because it was like, basically, unless it was time to get dressed up, we saw Michelle in a dress and sweat. Pretty much. And as far as the man, both of them being president is about where it ends, because JFK was dripping masculinity, and Barack was dripping bitch. But I mean, Michelle's been the closest thing we've had to Jackie since Jackie, so I mean we'll give her that. But I don't really think she was a style icon in the same manner. But just me. But we even got to the good part yet. But here we go. Fair use.
Exactly. Well, me personally, I grew up in the classic era, the '66 era. So that's a classic era. You know, you don't go out showing your underwear. You don't go out showing your brassieres and all that stuff that they're doing nowadays.
Well, yeah,
and I think that's a giving up of women.
Well, that's very, very true. Although, unfortunately, it was the women of the '60s who created the thoughts of the '90s and the 2000s.
Who their moms and their grandmamas?
The sexual revolution kicked off in the '60s. It didn't start after the '60s. It kicked off in the '60s. So the very same women who had criticized these young females, they were the ones burning their bras and everything else. So that's the side of the story they're not talking about. They were the ones. And also, one other thing, let me just remind you all, they love to sit up here and talk about these females today and, older women always like to talk about how the females today are not right and showing their draws and this, that, and the other. Need I remind you, y'all were throwing your draws at the damn Temptations.
And you old hoes.
And all he was singing was My Girl. All he was singing was My Girl. He wasn't even singing no Baby Let Me Lick Your Body. They were just singing My Girl and Up on the Roof.
Was up there throwing panties.
And they didn't mean sex up on the roof. He just like, I go up there and think and sing to myself. And the females was throwing their draws. Your grandmama and mamas was throwing their draws. I mean, he wasn't even Keith Sweat. We haven't even gotten to Barry White yet. I'm talking about the Temptations. We ain't even got to Barry White yet. So let's just call it what it was now. Your grandmamas with the washboards. I'm like, okay, well, it's good thing they were cleaning them because they was throwing them. You watch that documentary with the Temptations about David Ruffin. They were talking, look here, man, it was the black and white TV days, but when we was on stage, them chicks was throwing their draws, throwing their literal underwear. James Brown, Smokey Robinson, them niggas could have opened the Victoria's Secret with all the panties they got if they collected. So let's just keep it real. Yeah, we can throw jabs at the chicks today, but in some ways, I'm like, they was actually a little bit more upfront. When you think about it, they were a little bit more upfront with it because the older generation is acting like they weren't doing this stuff. And in reality, if anything else, they just had more tact about it. But do I give you awards for being more tactful and then claiming to the younger females that you never did? I would never do nothing like that. Meanwhile, Smokey Robinson
I never did nothing like that.
Okay.
Baby, you better be glad Jackie Wilson. You better be glad Jackie Wilson didn't have an iPhone.
And I raised a child in the '80s and a child in the '90s.
Ma'am, you better be glad. You better be glad that Jackie Wilson didn't have an iPhone and couldn't post nothing on Instagram. I never did that. You just saying that because you think Marvin Gaye didn't have a camera on that stage. So you like, I would never do nothing like that. And she just hoping Marvin wouldn't send that film.
Nope. I got one because my parents. We grew up and where my parents was just playing classic. They were classic, so that's how I grew up. Period, for real. So that's how I raised my two daughters. Like I said, I got one from the '80s, one from the '90s, and I also have a son. And like fashion right now.
You have 3 children. Well, slow down. You have 3 children.
Yeah. I have 3 children.
And how many husbands?
Yes.
Here we go. Because I ain't heard nothing about it.
Proposed 3 times, never married.
Hold it. Stop right there. So you had kids in the '80s and the '90s, and you ain't had no husband, but you was virtuous. How does that work? Did he die? Because that would make you a widow. Like let's be for real. When you marry and your spouse dies, if you are a woman, you are a widow. If you are a man, you are a widower. That's it. That's it. That being dead, that person being dead don't dissolve the marriage. Y'all just not together, but you're still married. So, ma'am, you gonna have to do me better than this. You having kids across multiple decades with no husband, but you virtuous. Okay. All right. Sounds a problem to me, but let's see what Jason got to say, because that sounds like trouble. But here we go.
But two of my kids. No. That was way back when I was growing up in the 80s.
Auntie, chill.
I got proposed to.
I don't know. I don't even know why you're doing this. I don't even know why you're trying this. It's just like I got proposed to, and it's just I don't know. I don't even know why they do that. Why do they say the proposal thing is if there's some bank where we give you 75% value for being proposed to? Being proposed to is like getting a job offer and never getting hired. They might as well have never made the offer. So why would you say that as if, well, this cushions the blow? No, it don't.
Because of my ideals and my drive.
Okay, but once again,
sometimes you want to settle down.
Okay, but you didn't want to settle down because you had 3 kids and didn't require anybody to settle down.
That was before my children.
Okay, but this was after your parents raised you.
Still had kids though.
Those classic parents you just mentioned, because you're from the classic era, and we didn't do that. And then she turns around, oh, I got 3 bastard kids. What part of the classic era was that?
Thank you.
Oh, I would. Hey, young ladies, I would never do that. I would never do that. And then she's got the 3 kids with no husband.
My 2 kids, I was gonna marry him.
Okay, was gonna. Okay, you're doing it again. That has no value. Was gonna. Yeah, well, I was gonna marry him. Well, then you was gonna be a classic wife.
Yes.
Okay, well, you didn't make it. I would have been. You didn't make it. So you need
hey.
You stop talking about what you didn't make. I almost. This sounds like, ma'am.
You turn around and had a baby.
It's childish. You were.
If it wasn't for domestic violence, we would have got married.
You chose him. You chose him. He couldn't have been that bad. You chose. Okay, you chose him, and you had a kid by him.
Mm-hmm. I had two daughters.
All right, well, no offense. You must have been liking some of them ass whoopings. You must have been liking some of them ass whoopings because she stuck around and had a kid with him. Right. So let's not run him into the ground.
Yep.
You were the other side of the equation. So she was like, hey, bring me that thug. Bring me that thug loving. It's like, okay, let me drop this people's elbow.
Y'all know that was my cut. That made me think about, was that John Rule, the Bobby Brown? Was that the 11? That was my cut for real though. But I mean, yeah, that was at least 20 months of your life. You had 2 babies. Yeah, I was virtuous is bullshit. Yeah, straight up. Cause you went from all this virtue and then you just fell completely off the cliff. So you went from, virtue and we're not gonna, show anything, ain't gonna give you nothing. You can't see, can't touch, can't feel, can't smell, can't nothing to I got 3 babies over 2 decades. But then I'm gonna get on and talk about how much better my generation was than the generation here. But you doing the same shit that they back then that they doing now. So who they learn it from? You. This is a prime example of we don't want to take any accountability, and we never should have picked up the damn phone. See, this is some of that, saying, wanting to throw stones and hide your hand type of action. She should have left that alone. She should have left all of that alone because this, it ain't even got bad yet. It ain't got bad, and she already in the I'm not wrong. Listen to me because I'm the elder nonsense. But what's a hoe? That's what that's why there's all this whole phase is foolishness. Listen, there is no whole phase. You are what you are. If you was hoeing at 20, you hoeing at 40, and if you get the opportunity, your ass is gonna be hoeing at 60. That's what it is. It's not a phase. It's a way of life. Hoeing is a way of life. It's a mindset. It's a process. So mindsets and processes are not phases. Let's just be clear about that. And this old bitch is the perfect example of that. So let's continue on. Just had to get that out there. Ain't no such thing as no damn hoe phase. You use a hoe, and that's your way of life. So let's continue on. Fair use, fair use.
And the abusement started after the children, and then
whoa. And y'all always notice that there's never any claims of abuse while the relationship and the so-called abuse is going on. It's always way, way, way after the fact. After somebody asks you why y'all ain't together, then it turns into, oh, y'all was being abused. Anybody notice that? Or is it just me? It's always abuse, which equals he was checking me on my bullshit, and I ain't like it. So to get out of a relationship and not on the fact that I was the problem, I'm gonna say he was abusing me, because me not getting my way is abuse. So let's hear the rest of her story.
So that cut that out,
ma'am. Women don't have children with men who they are offended by. They have children by men they want to keep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did want to keep going.
Then very clearly, whatever level of quote unquote alleged abuse you claim there was, obviously it wasn't that serious. So let's stop kicking dirt on. Let's stop kicking dirt on that man's name. Okay, and when you got when you got 600 miles away, what did you do next? Did you clean up your act and get a better quality of man? Or did you simply rinse and repeat?
But I didn't get married.
Okay, then so you're saying that man wasn't worth marrying, or that you were not worth marrying?
You still haven't said anything, man.
I think it was.
I use that term loosely.
I think it was an agreement.
An agreement. What woman agrees to get pregnant by a man and then not require him to marry her? What kind of classic woman does that?
And what dude is agreeing to this? That's worth.
But second try.
Second try. What type of classic female from the 60s gets pregnant 3 times and doesn't require any man to marry her?
Inquire minds.
I just didn't want to get married.
Third time. What type of classic female from the 60s gets pregnant 3 times by 3 different men and doesn't require any of them to marry her?
Hold on. No, not 3 different men. 2 of my daughters by 1 man, and I got a son.
No, I didn't get pregnant by 2 men, by 3 men. I got pregnant by 2.
The second one? Hold on. The second one, it wasn't an upgrade.
Do you all hear this?
It wasn't an upgrade.
Clearly it wasn't. Clearly.
Yes.
Jason, don't be kicking dirt on my name.
No, I'm cool with
I didn't get pregnant by 3 men. I got pregnant by 2. Don't I got pregnant by 2.
And they doing very well.
Okay, but
you're doing very
ma'am, if your children grew up without a father in the home, no, you screwed up narcissistic. No, they did not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. That's the first two. No, we had to leave.
Ma'am, okay. So in other words, according to you, the men that you liked were not fit to raise children.
About DV. Because you got your feelings hurt.
I agree with you with that.
But you're the captain of the ship, so that's your fault. You were the captain of the ship. You own the ovaries. You own the womb. So if you liked laying up with dudes who were not fit to be fathers,
I wasn't gonna get rid of them.
Some classic 60s.
She think this is funny.
Huh?
She really think this is funny.
I think you were telling everybody about how you all were so much different.
Yeah, I'm still waiting.
Well, sounds like the same behavior to me. Yeah. Sounds like the same behavior.
You're right. You're correct. You're correct. As far as relationships and getting married, yes, you are correct.
Oh,
okay. Coming with
that's the goal. So everything they have
to
before that.
However,
that's the goal. So y'all got the same outcome.
Come on now. Do you really think you're going to talk your way out of this? Do you really think that's what's about to occur?
No.
You really think you're going to put a spin on this, and after you put the spin on this, it'll be better then? Do you really think that's what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's what she
really.
No, I mean it doesn't
can.
make a difference whether you think I'm putting a spin on it or not. We was just talking about classic. So I was just thinking about how classic
it sounds like
the women are.
Yes, ma'am.
then
Yes, ma'am.
not.
And that's what I'm saying is that obviously you're overstating it because those quote classic women,
you are no better
no
than
offense,
them.
produced you, who had no value or regard for it. So you're trying to elevate and praise that era, which really we're just making things up now. And the females you're talking about, I'm like, well, take a look at what it produced. You saw no value in it. You were allegedly raised under it, and you saw no value in it. To the point that you were fearless about getting pregnant, not once, not twice, but 3 times, not assuming you didn't have any miscarriages, probably more times than that, or any abortions, more times than that. Obviously you didn't like that classic upbringing, dressing, or anything either, because you did exactly the opposite.
Oh no, not when it came to dressing.
Okay.
Well,
let me just ask you this then. So do you think that a woman being a well-dressed
don't care
thought makes her more valuable or better than a
silk? You still let the nigga take them off. Is the point we make?
Well,
no. Come on.
No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that because I wouldn't know what the personality or what the individual got, as far as a more classical woman versus a more thought-wearing person, as you would say. I wouldn't say that.
No thoughts.
But however, I do think that your dressing has an impression on wherever you go or however you see. That's just me. That's just the way I see it. So like I'm just saying, I'm just going to make a point. Whenever I see, my daughters, like I grew up, we didn't show our brassiere, we didn't go showing our underwear, we wore slips or whatever, and I make sure that they do the same thing.
Okay, but you're acting as if that's, I'm just saying, you're acting as if that's a value, but you're acting as if that's a value, but then the woman who's claiming that that's a value, next thing she did was go off and go have 3 kids by 2 different men, nobody married, so she was raised in a 2-parent home, and the value she got from that was, single motherhood. Your 2-parent home raised you to value single motherhood.
I didn't start having my kids until I was 22.
Okay, what does that have to do with anything?
I chose that.
She had a husband.
I chose that.
Okay, you are what your parents raised.
Because of the game. No, because of the game. The game I was in the 80s.
Okay, who raised a daughter in the game? Who raised a daughter in the game?
I don't want to expose that.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I mean, that just makes the point. Thank you very much for giving us a call, Miss Classic American. So,
yeah. See, should have never picked up the phone because all she did was, without her intending to accept the responsibility for what's wrong with these chaps out here now. Basically, that was. I mean, yeah, we showed them how to do it. We just showed them how to put a different spin on it. That's all. That's it, and that's sad. Like, you gotta be old hoes. Let me say this: old hoes, y'all gotta start being honest about what you did, why you did it, and the fact that you don't care that it looks bad. That's the thing. Stop trying to act like y'all care about appearances because you don't. You don't. I mean, there's a saying: you get out what you put in. Y'all didn't put anything in, so you didn't get nothing out. So this is why your mindset, your state of being doesn't improve because you're basically reaping what you sowed. You did nothing, so you get nothing. And on that note, I am out. Again, this has been a perfect example of old hoes not wanting to take responsibility for teaching the young hoes how to hoe. This is Alma I-78. Thanks for stopping by. I will see y'all later. Good night.